What is up, everybody? I think I've done this once before. Instead of being all sitting still and having prepped and thought out for lack of a better way of putting it, a script so I can stay on point, I felt really impressed to kind of talk while I walk today. And I want to talk for a minute or two here about responsibility. The Bible's pretty clear that we will be responsible for the things we say and the things we do, and we'll be held account called to account for those when it's all over. And that means the good things you do, and that means the bad things you do. Same with me. But it also goes into account for the things you don't do. So, it's real obvious that we are going to be held accountable for, how we treat other people, how we handle ourselves. But a lot of people don't think about the fact that we're going to be held accountable for shrinking back from our potential. Living in fear of what everybody else thinks, and shying away from what you're called to do. You'll be held accountable for not really living your life, just as much as for the things you do. And ultimately it comes down to grabbing a hold of your life. And, to be blunt, owning your shit. For PG people, own your mess. I don't care how you phrase it. I'm really tired of worrying about what other people think of me. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't own your shit, you're living a lie in the first place. If you spend all this time trying to shove stuff under the rug, and in the closet and under the bed, the thought dawned on me today, God's grace is limitless. The Bible tells us that, behold, when we're new creatures in Christ, the old is gone and the new has come. But how can that grace be effective if you've not presented the old so it can be dealt with? We're also called to be living sacrifices. That means we lay everything on the altar, good, bad, otherwise. Own it. And it dawned on me today, if we're trying to do the social media version of our life, who are we really kidding? Are we really owning our mess, owning our shit? Taking full responsibility for what we do and say and what we don't do and say. What happens when you feel that nudge to say something in loving rebuke to a close friend that you see hurting themselves? You could have made a difference in their life, but instead you were a coward and didn't say anything. Yeah, we'll be held accountable for that kind of stuff too. When you get those opportunities and you shrink away from them out of fear, well, what will so-and-so think? Who cares? It has taken me 49 years to figure that out, but who cares? There's an audience of one that you should be worried about, and that's God himself. What he thinks ultimately is what matters. So what are you doing? Are you owning it? Are you trying to put on the best show for the world to see, knowing darn well your skeletons are running a rave in your life? Honestly, I want God's grace to be most effective in my life, both in me and through me. And that means I've had to face some hard realities. I'm 100% responsible for where I'm at this moment, for the decisions I've made to get me where I'm at this moment. Nobody else. It's real convenient in this modern day to go, well, so and so, had they not done that, I would have. Yeah, but guess what? You are responsible for how you respond, how you choose to either overcome or become the victim. Yes, you'll be held accountable for that. So again, I ask, are you owning it? I know I had to face the hard fact that there's some things that I wasn't. In the back corners of my mind, I had tucked some stuff away and had this whole reality set up. And, I'm selling myself short, and I realized that. And, I had to bring it to God. Got a lot of work to do, because I want to be the best version of me that I can be, both for myself and so that I can be more beneficial to those around me or those that God may bring across my path. But if I'm not being me, if I'm not owning my shit, how can I positively impact them? Truly impact them? See, the power of sharing your story with others to provide inspiration, encouragement, or whatever means that you have to own it all. The whole story. Not just part of it. Not just what looks attractive. You have to own the story that happens when nobody else sees it but you in the mirror. You have to own the story that happens when you're driving in your car at night by yourself. Just as much as you have to own the story when everybody's watching. Because see, ultimately, that audience of one, he's always watching. So you're being you're being observed whether you want to be or not. So stop fooling yourself. Stop living that lie. And like I've had to come to the tough realization here in these last few days, own your shit. And I hope and pray that point goes deep to help make a change in your life for the better. And for some that know me, I know they'll be more offended by the word choice I use than the point that I feel God's trying to make in the moment. And that's okay. Your time will come when you realize you got to own it too. I just pray that your hearts are open, your ears are open, and that you hear that point. It's time we own our shit now. Stop thinking we've got forever, because we don't. Our lives are a vapor, a mist. It disappears as quickly as the fog does when the sun hits in the morning. Stop wasting time. Own your shit and bring it to God, and become that living sacrifice He's called you to be. But that's going to require you to get real, just as it does me. And own it. I love you guys. Be blessed this weekend. And let's get after it.